Moscow often turns to poison to take out its enemies. In 2006, a Russian defector dies after drinking a cup of tea laced with a radioactive toxin. In 1978, a Bulgarian dissident is stabbed with a poison-tipped umbrella. But before all that, one Ukrainian nationalist falls victim to something even more sinister: a cyanide gun hidden inside a newspaper.
It's 1957 and Moscow has a problem. There are Ukrainian nationalists in West Germany who are talking about revolution and hell-bent on independence.
At the time, Ukraine is part of the USSR, but these nationalists want an independent nation, not controlled by Russia. One of their most important leaders is Stepan Bandera.
He's essentially enemy number one as far as Moscow's concerned.
Moscow wants him gone, permanently gone.
For Moscow to want to take out Bandera, having to do so in West Germany, this would be a violation of the highest order. That could possibly kick the Cold War into a hot one.
So they're looking for a way to get rid of him that's untraceable.
KGB engineers are tasked with creating the perfect weapon for the job.
Killing people is easy. Anybody can do that. The challenge is to kill someone and make it look like you didn't kill them.
Shooting? Too noisy. Bombs? Too messy. So the KGB engineers decide to abandon bullets and bombs for chemistry.
Soon, they have their ideal solution: a poison spray.
They vaporize a killer compound called hydrogen cyanide into a lethal mist. If you inhale just a fraction of a gram, you'll be dead in a matter of seconds.
Hydrogen cyanide blocks the cell's ability to use oxygen. So to a pathologist conducting any regular autopsy, the tiny dose is untraceable. And the cause of death would easily look the same as like a massive coronary failure.
Creating the lethal spray isn't hard. Creating a weapon to deliver it, that's the real challenge.
An assassin needs to be right up close to the victim to deliver it, or else any change in the wind risks it blowing back in your face or taking out an innocent bystander. So, to direct the poison, Soviet engineers build a small metal tube about 8 inches long, less than an inch wide, and this tube needs to be positioned as close to the victim as possible.
You shoot it out by pressing a spring-loaded metal bar. That smashes the vial and causes the poison to shoot out the end of the tube. There's no bang to draw attention. There's no bullet to become forensic evidence. It is the perfect weapon.
The only problem is how to conceal the weapon so an assassin can get close enough to use it without drawing attention. To do that, the Soviets reach for the most ordinary cover imaginable: a rolled-up newspaper.
In 1950s Europe, newspapers are ubiquitous, so this makes them a perfect object to hide weapons inside.
The designers slot the weapon inside of a rolled-up newspaper. They cut a slit into the newspaper near the trigger for fingertip access so the assassin can fire it without being noticed.
Now, the KGB just needs the right person to use this new weapon to take out Stepan Bandera. It picked Bohdan Stashinsky.
Bohdan Stashinsky has been working undercover for the Soviets since the early 1950s. He's young, expendable, and the KGB think that he's loyal. So in September 1957, his handlers give him the poison gun.
When Stashinsky begins to surveil Bandera, however, he hits a problem. Bandera is always accompanied by a bodyguard.
The original newspaper gun gives you 1 shot. But if Bandera has a bodyguard, the KGB is going to need 2 shots. And they can't be walking around with 2 rolled-up newspapers. That would be ridiculous. So instead, the KGB develops a double-barreled version to take out 2 people. The engineers get to work, and they produce a twin-pipe gun. 2 barrels, 2 triggers, and 2 capsules. And Stashinsky is handed the new weapon.
Stashinsky spends months tracking Bandera. One night, he waits outside of Bandera's apartment. Miraculously, Bandera is alone. His bodyguard is nowhere to be seen.
As Bandera fumbles with his keys outside of his apartment, Stashinsky approaches. He raises his newspaper weapon and fires. However, he accidentally shoots both streams of poison at once instead of the one that he was supposed to. Bandera instantly collapses.
Bandera is dead. But doubling the lethal dose of hydrogen cyanide means it is no longer untraceable.
Because Stashinsky fired both barrels, the cyanide has left a more permanent residue in his victim's organs. This is traceable in the autopsy. It's clearly not a natural death.
The authorities in West Germany don't have any witnesses. They don't have evidence of a weapon, but that poison residue isn't enough to convince them that this could be an assassination.
The West German authorities start to look for an assassin. For 2 years, Stashinsky stays silent. Then, the pressure becomes too much.
Stashinsky cracks. He surrenders to West German police and confesses everything in return for asylum and information. Stashinsky is tried a year later, and during this trial, he describes the newspaper wrap poison gun in great detail. Suddenly, this strange and very unique weapon is front-page news all across the world.
Stashinsky is found guilty. In exchange for exposing the KGB's lethal tactics, he's released after just 5 years in jail. Then he vanishes, reportedly given a new identity to escape the KGB's revenge.